this video I'm going to show you how to work with object styles and effects. So you can apply effects to your images, and you can do this just by selecting one of your images. So I'm just going to click on one of the images. You could right mouse click and then you could go to effects, for example, and then you've got lots of different options here for effects. You've also got options up here on the toolbar, so you can add in things, for example, such as drop shadow or change the opacity of the image, and of course you've got an FX icon up here as well. Now the FX icon allows you to go in, for example, and apply drop shadow. So that brings up the big effects dialog box. So if you're used to using Photoshop and have experience with that program, then this will be very familiar to you. So what I've got here is I can see my drop shadow. Now I can see that because I've got the preview tick on. By default that normally comes up with it switched off, and as you're changing things here you can't see what's going on, so it makes sense to have the preview option on. Of course you can change the distance of your drop shadow, that is away from your image. You could change the angle that the drop shadow is coming from, so lots of different things. You can change the colour, the opacity, those different kinds of options here, and the size, the spread, the noise. So things, for example, like noise will make it go all sort of sprinkly if you wanted that kind of effect going on there. You could also add an inner shadow. Now inner shadows make it look like the image is sunk behind your page, so it's down through below the page, whereas drop shadow will make it look like the images are sitting above the piece of paper. And again, you've got similar options, like you can increase, for example, the distance and that kind of stuff. You've got your outer glows and your inner glows, so they are just sort of glows around the outside. You won't see any at the moment because the glow has been set to white, but let's go and make it the pink colour and click OK. And again, you can change the sort of size of that glow so that you've got a glow around the outside of the image if you wanted that. Inner glow would be the glow on the inside. Bevel and emboss makes your images sort of go 3D, so it now looks like a little fridge magnet. So I've got that kind of 3D effect. You've got a satin, which gives like a sheen across your image, so it gives a kind of a sheen effect, adding a bit of sort of inner shadow and a bit of sort of glow as well at the same time. And then you've got options such as feather. Feather softens the edges of your image, so it looks like it's got a fuzzy soft edge around it. So if you didn't want a hard sharp edge, then you can apply those kind of effects that we've got there. Directional feathers allow you to come in, and what you can do here is you can say that you want the feathering to occur from the top, so just in one particular direction. So rather than it being all the way around the outside of the image, you can apply it just from the top, or you could apply it from the bottom or left or right. That's quite a nice effect to have on images as well. Let me just take that off. Gradient feather is where you can add a colour. So at the moment we're going in here from transparent through to white. So you can see the image, but it's then fading into a white colour. Very, very similar to directional feather, but of course you can change these colour pots. And if you change these colour pots, you can then actually have it going from your image through into like a red colour if you wanted to. Okay, so that's how you can apply effects to your images. Of course, with images you can also do things such as apply a stroke effect, which is just a simple border. So if I come in here and choose like a pink colour and then increase the size of my stroke, you'll see that I've got a border effect going around the outside of that image. I can also come in and holding down the Alt key, I can come in and choose some corner options. So I can go here and say that I want this corner to be rounded, this corner to be rounded, and I might put that up to 6 and put that up to 6 as well. Click OK, and then I've got rounded corners as well as my border effect that I've got in terms of the stroke. I'm just going to go into that, and I am going to go and add some effects. So I'm going to add a bit of drop shadow. So there's our drop shadow. Might just reduce the size of it a little bit. In fact, I will increase the size, but I might just reduce the distance. There we go, so it's not so far away from the image, and click OK. Okay, so once you've set up one of your images with all of these lovely effects, you're thinking to yourself, now I want those same effects on this image, and this image, and all of my images that go throughout the whole of my document. Actually, I want this kind of effects applied. Now I can't remember what settings I used, but thankfully you don't have to, because once you've set one object up with the effects and styles that you want, you just need to click on that object and then open up your object styles panel window. Now this is similar to paragraph styles and character styles that allow you to format text throughout the whole of your document. While object styles allow you to format objects such as images, text frames, shapes, those kind of things. To open it, you just need to go to the window menu, go to styles, and open up the object styles panel window. And what you could do now is you could create a new object style. So I've got my object selected that has all of the effects on it. I can go to new object style, give it a name, and I can call it image effects. and then I'm just going to click OK to that, and then when I come to my other images I just need to click image effects and it will apply exactly the same object style to each one of those. So that's how you can have consistency throughout your entire document using object styles. And of course the great thing about object styles, very similar to paragraph and character styles, is that if I want to change my images throughout the whole of the document, I just come back here to image effects, and I can come and change, for example, the stroke. So for example, if I don't want it to be pink but I want it to be a blue border, it instantly updates and changes all of them. If I want to go into the drop shadow and increase the distance of the drop shadow, it will do that for all of them. If I just move that out of the way, you can see it's changing all of them. And that will happen throughout the entire document and on every page that you've created to add these object styles. Now of course object styles will also work with text frames as well. So you can go into a text frame and select that, and I should really create a separate object style for text frames, but if I just click on this one here and apply that, you can see that my object style is also applied here. It doesn't really work because I set it up specifically for images, but you could go on and apply a border, for example. So if we select this particular text frame, I'm just going to go up and add a stroke to it. So this time I'm going to go for the pink, and I'm just going to increase the size of it so that you can see that pink shape. So let's select the pink colour, and then let's come up here and increase the size of that. There we go, there's our pink border around the outside. And then what I can do is I can set that up as a new object style. So I can call that, double click it, and then call that text frames. So then I could apply that to all of my text frames. Now one thing that you'll notice is that the border sits very close to the edge of the text, and again we've said that's not a good thing to do. So we don't really want the text going right up against the edge of the border. Well, that would be under text frame general options, and you can change the inset spacing. As long as this is ticked, it will do all four sides, and you can see the text is being moved away from the edge of the border. And if I click OK to that now, I can then come to this text frame and say I want it to be the same, and this text frame and say I want it to be the same. And that's the great thing about using object styles and applying these effects to both images, text frames, and you could do it to shapes as well.